Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Halloween edition of Sunday Live. My name is Daryl Ledyard, along with Simon Hogman. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, Daryl. Very well on Halloween. Yeah, one of my favourite times of the year. Actually, I love the whole Halloween thing. I've not got dressed up today, but here I am. It's yeah, good to see you.
Awesome. Steven's taking some time off the show. We're not sure if he's coming back officially, but we've changed around the studios a bit
Yes, new
here,
studio. That's it. Yeah,
updating that for Halloween and getting ready for the holiday season coming ahead. Maybe we'll add some little holiday lights around. Who knows
yeah.
what we're gonna end up doing?
Anything's
But
possible. Yeah.
yeah, but make sure what's going to happen is this is a different platform. This is called Melon, Melon, and make sure that you give authority to your Facebook to leave comments and things like that on your Melon app. Okay, so Stephen from 3 Seasons of Pod says I'm in, so we definitely got his
Great. Good to see
YouTube
you,
on
Stephen.
there, so that's
Brilliant.
awesome. So that's working from YouTube. And I haven't really checked it, but it seems like we are on YouTube. I haven't double checked that we were live and everything, but I'm just assuming,
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna have a quick look on your Facebook group just to check that out first. Yeah,
Yeah,
there we are.
absolutely.
I can see that. I can see I've also got kind of demon eyes. I need to sort of my lighting, but maybe it's a Halloween special. But I can actually see through the back of my head. I quite like that. I might keep that for for next time. But you
That's
see that?
funny.
Yeah, ooh, yeah. I need to sort my
So,
lighting up.
so what do you remember from Halloween back in the day? Like, what did you guys used to do? Did you cause a lot of trouble?
No, well, trick or treating, as we always like to say in Britain, is more of a kind of American thing. Halloween didn't used to have that tradition in the UK originally. It has become more of a thing here now. So a lot of people go out trick or treating, but that kind of concept. So kids would get dressed up, come around to sort of neighbours' doors, knock on the door, sing a song or say a poem, do something fairly innocent, and get rewarded with a chocolate or candy or whatever else. So that was the way we did it in Britain. We didn't have pumpkins when I was a lad either. We had turnips, and people used to carve a turnip instead of a pumpkin. If you ever tried to carve a turnip, you'll realise it's a really hard thing to do. So that was. But trick or treating does happen now, and there's a lot of trouble as a result. But it didn't used to be that way. How about you?
Yeah, did the trick or treating thing, of course. I wasn't a big troublemaker, but a lot of friends from school, of course, would toilet paper the trees and
Okay.
soak the windows and do
Yeah.
innocent, but yeah, there is a time change that
Yes,
occurred
that's
first
right.
in the UK. So we just figured to just be allow him to get enough time to do his preparation and for me to do some preparation because we just wanted to try this new platform and get
Yeah, we've
this
been doing
thing
some testing on it, haven't
going.
we? Yeah.
And so it was a bit of a few hours just trying to see how this would work compared to like StreamYard and stuff. So I'm looking for something to compare to that with. So that's hence the new studio design. We got the little ghosts in the corner. I hope you guys like the
Hmm.
ghosts there. And
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
yeah, so awesome. So we've talked a little bit about Halloween. I'm wondering how I'm getting my faces off center. Here we go. I think we're looking more at each other here. Um, so I guess we have some people in the room. You can make your comments known. Again, we have zero tolerance for fake profiles, so we will ban any people that are fake on here. And no, we're going to do the giveaway for the domains coming up. And again, if you are serious and you're a regular attendee to the show, that's what we're really trying to do is make sure you get rewarded for being here. So
Yeah,
uh,
no, that's good. We're trying to help people, and we want to help
Mhm.
people that are genuine and want to engage with the channel, and that's what we're here to try and do. So yeah, I think that's good. So no more fake profiles.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to show the domains in case people are looking for the domains. I'm trying to see how I can show that
Hmm.
um, list here. Getting used to this
I'm
myself.
hoping Don has seen the time change because I know Don is particularly keen on the domains and says it's the best 2 minutes of the week. So let's hope he
Yeah.
wasn't here for like 10 minutes ago. He's missed it.
No, I don't think he probably wouldn't miss it.
No.
It's time for him to win another one, though.
Yeah,
I think
true.
it's been a while since
Mm.
he's won one of the domains. So, um, yeah, it would be really good. I am just wondering where my list here went. Let me see if I can bring this up to my Chrome tabs. So what are you going to talk about today while I'm getting prepared here?
So yeah, I'm going to continue a bit of a Halloween theme, but mixed in with SEO and
Mhm.
trying to have a bit of a kind of connection there. So I'm going to talk about SEO horror stories. So these are just things that I've experienced myself and seen just around and about of things that have just gone absolutely horribly wrong in SEO. So I'm kind of hoping that you'll have some stories to share too, and I'm also hoping some of the people on the stream will also be able to share some of their the SEO horror stories too. So we'll see how we go that and see how far we can stretch the Halloween theme. That's what I'm going to talk
That's
about.
awesome. That's awesome. So you can see the domains up for grabs. These are some pretty good ones. Lawyercaraccidents.net, cheapestwifi.com, roofestimates.net, the .com of that sold for $10,000, and loanpayday.net. So if you're looking for some high ticket, there's a few high ticket ones in there, personal injury law, roofing, and payday loans. So
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
good.
So it's going to be worth your
Good,
while
good
to
domains.
hang in
Actually, you
there.
don't bring any rubbish in, do you, Darryl? Let's be fair. These
Yeah.
are real domains that have real value every single week. I mean, we all could go out and just buy some $6 specials and pump them up there, but those are genuine domains that I could say anybody putting to use. So that's great. I'm
Yeah,
just
I got
gutted.
to.
I can't join anymore. I feel I'm missing out. I wanted to earlier on, but I'm banned now. So that's that.
I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry. Well, anyway, would you like to get started with your end? And
Yeah.
I can
Right.
go
Let's
ahead and
see.
can you share your
Uh,
screen?
Let me just try and do that.
Somebody moved your cheese today.
Yeah, this is where things go on. Can you see that?
Not quite yet. Let's see. I'll show on screen. There we go.
Yeah.
Yep. Now it's full screen.
Oh, awesome. Okay, well, I've had some fun with clip art today, as you'll see. So these are just 10 shocking SEO horror stories. I don't know, they may be not shocking, and maybe people on the stream have experienced a lot worse. These are just a few ones, just a bit of fun that I thought I'd share and see how we go. And then you, Darryl, can help me out. So, like, here's one of my favourite ones. So, this is a story where a local competitor of mine, this is in my photography business, decided to steal like 10,000 words of content. It wasn't just a blog. It was like, 3 or 4 cornerstone articles. It was just loads of stuff. And I wasn't aware of this. And I just noticed that I'd had a couple of other backlinks come onto my profile. I will take a look at those from another photographer. I thought that's a bit weird. I'll have a look at that. And then I just go on the page. And there it is, all of my, location cornerstone pages, 3 or 4 of them, and some other stuff, just copied and pasted in. They changed a bit of it, but they'd not changed things like links back to my own site, which is what I knew. So I contacted the photographer to make an inquiry about a wedding booking to see how far I could take them down the line before they had to admit to me that the content was mine. So I had a bit of fun with that, but that was a great one. I thought was a good one. I mean, this stuff happens all the time, but I think leaving the links in back to your own site is a bit ridiculous, really. Bit of a horror story for them, but they were pretty embarrassed about it, to be honest. They blamed their SEO, but I don't think they even had an SEO. I think it was just they just tried to rip me off, really. So that was
That's like copying off your neighbor in school and putting their
mm,
name on your paper.
yeah, that's it. Exactly, that's exactly it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of stuff goes on, but I thought that was a pretty funny one. Now this one hasn't happened to me, but I'm aware this happens all the time, and this is the classic of a client launches a new site, waits a number of months, nothing happens in the SEO, and then decides to look in, and at a later date finds out that somebody, often the web designers, left the discouraged from search engines indexing box still ticked. Now, if you have a problem, that's one of the first things to look at, because people do leave them on through development or staging site, then they put something out and something can be there. So it's one of the first things you want to go through, just to double check there's nothing weird going on if there's no indexation at all. But that's an absolute classic. And I've even heard some major SEOs saying that it happened on their own site and they'd forgotten about it for a number of months, and people were asking why other pages were ranking but not the home page, and people thought it was a kind of new strategy, but they'd apparently put in some codes, some robots code to stop it being indexed. So it was pretty funny. Yeah.
Can I add to that?
Mm.
Sometimes I've worked on a site that had a robot text file
Yeah,
that kept the pages from showing up. And also, sometimes you have to look at the SEO I'm sorry, the sitemaps that are built
Mhm.
in. Sometimes somebody has submitted a sitemap, right, that Google is very much looking at. But then
Yeah.
when you add mass pages as well to that through the Magic Page plugin or another
Mhm.
tool, they don't start to index because the sitemap is already kind of defined
Mhm.
with Google, and so you have to clear that out. So there's another like horror story of
Mhm.
where you're like scratching your head. Why aren't these pages
Yeah.
indexing? So it's definitely
Yeah.
something.
I mean, SEO plugins are so complex these days. I mean, I use SEO Press, and it's got scores of different
Mhm.
settings, and you can do a lot of damage. And if a client's gone in there and changed some things, and you're not in control of the whole setup, bad things can happen. So yeah, it's a good one. Right, pushing on. Now this
Oh,
didn't
let me
happen to
get.
me actually. Can you see the next
Yeah, I'm
slide?
gonna try to get rid of the. I'm gonna try to get rid of that little text thing here. Sunday
Okay.
Live. Okay, there
So
we go.
this did actually happen to me, and I was able to recover it. But this is where I moved to a new VPS, and although I had daily backups in place, which is a good practice, obviously host-based daily backups, I moved to a new VPS and then had a major issue, and that meant that I couldn't roll back because I'd already moved from one server to another, and the host didn't automatically keep the original files. I had a bit of an issue. They had to dig back into their archive, recover the files, put it all back in place, and all the rest of it. But I think just as a bit of a horror story, I would recommend if you do move onto a new server, I would let a backup kick in just so you've got that and other backups as well before you do any further things that might change the site, just as a precaution. But that's just one thing that I experienced once, which was a bit of a shocker. I did recover it, but that was something that happened to me. Here's another one I found with a client recently. So they'd migrated to a new domain. They wanted to change their branding a little bit, not a great deal, but their old domain had good domain authority, backlinks, a little bit of traffic coming through from other links, and they just left the domain to fester and didn't divert anything with the 301 everything. So anybody that knew their old website would just come onto the old site. There was nothing there. The site had gone down, and they weren't getting any benefit from the backlink juice being passed forwards or any traffic as well. It's a pretty obvious one, but again, depending on what type of clients you're dealing with, it's worth understanding the history of their websites and domains. Do they own any other relevant domains they could use to send through? Because that was a client that missed out, really reasonably big time just by not redirecting the old domain. But that's a classic. I thought this one was funny, so I came across an expert teaching an SEO course. This is not me, by the way, and I'm going to have to check my settings after this to make sure I've not come across this. But somebody teaching an SEO course, but there's no SSL on his course website where he was taking payments, and obviously it's not a great example if you've not got your SSL up and running from an SEO or security point of view. Now I'm going to have to go and check my own websites to make sure I've got a clean bill of health there. But that's there's always the thing, we put these things out. Somebody says, "Well, yeah, I'll look at your website, Simon, and I can see there's a problem." But anyway, that don't do as I say, do as I do, whatever. Anyway. Right. Okay. So number 6, I think we've all had this, and I think we've probably all experienced it. We've even been doing it ourselves. So the whole kind of website death by plugins. So just how many cache and image optimization plugins can one client install? I've worked with people that have got a host cache and CDM. They've got WP Rocket, they've put NitroPack on, they've got Short Pixel and Smush, and they were thinking whether they want to put EWWW image on top as well. It just, obviously it doesn't end well often for this, but when you speak to a client and they've got 50, I think highest I've ever seen is 65 WordPress plugins, and that's a lot for a local business simple website. I mean, they can obviously get large, but less plugins on WordPress tends to be better if you can, just avoid any clashes and compatibility issues. But death by plugins is definitely another horror story. This is another one I've seen not so long ago. So client with a GMB listing, got reviews, it's aged, it's there, but they've lost, can't remember the account, they can't recover it, and they need to start a fresh one, which is hard. Now you
That's
can obviously
horrible.
contact Google, you can try and merge them and all the rest of it, and Google sometimes merges the right one, sometimes merges the wrong one, and it could just a complete horror story. So obviously I say to anybody anybody that GMB, your GMB listing is an asset. It's like your website. In some ways, it's more important than your website. It's something that Google obviously likes and respects, and you've got to really protect it and look after it. But yeah, that's a real sickener if that happens. Okay, we've got the last few now. Moving on. Another one I had recently, a client who won't let go of their Wix website, which has been created by their uncle, aunt, brother, sister, son, daughter. They've got an emotional attachment to a website. I've not got anything particularly against Wix, but I wouldn't start a website on Wix from an SEO perspective if I had the choice, and they can be harder to work with, but often Wix is a mainstream option that's chosen by a lot of people, and normally somebody's sons put it together, and again, it doesn't often work well. You can't do a great deal with it, obviously, compared to WordPress for SEO. So yeah, it's another shocker. Right, last couple. Clients concerned with SEO that's not delivering within a couple of weeks. I'm sure if you work with any clients, this is there. They've made an investment often up front. They're eager for results. It's not the same as Facebook, and it's not the same as Google pay-per-click. And we know this, but I guess even with education, every business owner feels that they want to have the return quickly, and it's hard to hold people's expectations back if they've spent a lot of money and they want results within weeks, which we know is not the case on SEO. So that's always a bit of a shocker. Now, here's the worst one, and this is my one I do know from a client. So this is a client who had a personal branded domain and had quite a distinctive name, and they had this website for many years, and they kept on getting renewal alerts by email, and they ignored them all. So it's from their registrar, domain registrar, saying you need to renew, it's going out, it's going to expire. They just ignored it, and they even ignored it after the suspension time afterwards. So it fully dropped and expired, and basically Middle East, what would I say, like a Chinese or Korean website took it up, and it was just absolutely spammed with CBD and Viagra and all the rest of it. It had quite a lot of nice backlinks, and it was just absolutely destroyed, and he still hasn't got it back, and that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So that's a real shocker. And just, if you are working with clients, try and help educate them on the importance that not every email they get about SEO or their domain or websites is fake, because people cry wolf too much, and then they just ignored it. So that was the worst one that ever happened that I was involved with. But I guess there's some horror stories. Probably people have got things far more shocking and horrific than those, but there's just a few to get the discussion started. Daryl, I don't know if you've got anything along those lines horror-wise, or if you're going to talk later on about some of that stuff.
Well, I thought some of the ones that you mentioned were really good. When it comes to like third-party sites where you have to sort of claim your listing. And what happens is a lot of times a business owner will use a third party to submit all of their citations, and they'll hook it up through some kind of an email that they either set up for you or they control. One of the things that I try to do is when I start doing business with a customer is I get them to have like a marketing at their realdomain.com that goes to like this, to me at first, and then I turn it all over to them afterwards. Okay. So that way it's a real domain for the real company. And I think that's the real ethical way to do it, instead of having like some Gmail account or something like that, because what ends up happening is you can do all the hard work to submit to these things, and sometimes they block things that are coming from Yahoo's and Google's or Gmail's and things like that. So I always think that it's good to do that work yourself, or have a trusted partner to make sure they're doing just like that point that you brought up. I think is something that's a real deal. That's a real situation that happens.
Yeah. How do you provide that protection support for the client? Because I mean, I get calls every day about SEO. I get emails every day. And how do you filter it through? I guess we're hopefully more educated, but we could all fall foul of it. But the average person is not spending every day talking about digital marketing. They're on other stuff. So I think it's pretty hard to protect your client and your sites. Yeah.
And to raise back what we talked about a week ago about GMB edits, I'm working with a client that has had a Apple Maps edit that says he's permanently closed on Apple Maps, and so we're trying to report back to Apple that that's incorrect information. but it's still, I mean, we've submitted that information and it still hasn't been updated. So it is a bit of a nightmare sometimes. These edits that that you have that comes up, and it's one of those things where it puts you in a bad position, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Craig Campbell's had his GMB listing permanently closed a number of times. He's been targeted. I mean, he's an experienced SEO. If he can't protect his listing, what hope is there for any of the rest of us? Really, I think it is something I think Google has to look at, because I think there has to be something other than just a Gmail account reporting something with no evidence, and the site just going down. I think that's a real issue for something that's so valuable. And you do it the day before Black Friday, or week before Christmas on somebody's site. That's a major issue. So for some businesses, yeah.
Yeah. So we had a question come in. Do you want to address this now? This one, or should we do it during questions and answers? Rank and renters. They're talking about a lead simplify call whisperer. Yeah. And so the way the call whisperer works is it tells the lead buyer ahead of time that they have a call coming in from your site. And, you can record whatever you want for that. Okay. So they understand that this is like a free lead. I've always recommended showing value first. So if you can use that in a way to kind of monitor and give a few free leads, once they start getting a few of those, then of course you can try to get them to buy. But even if you could get people to buy, let's say they're already buying somewhere else, and you get them to buy, like you just do the sales work and you get them to come on board, then the whisper is always good, because if it's a busy contractor and they're getting a lead come in, they want to know ahead of time, do I step out of the work site and take the call and grab a piece of paper? Am I ready for this or not? So
or is it somebody like up selling SEO, which happens a lot. People do screen the calls, yeah. So I think Link Whisper works well. I think it's a good one. Again, it just reinforces the idea that it's coming from your source, and I think that just psychologically, it's going to be good. Link Whisper is a call whisper. I think on giving them away for free, I think that's okay, but I guess that these leads are still valuable, so I think you've got to be careful not to give away too much, because then it just seems, well, how's this guy going to charge me $25, $30, $40 or whatever your number is, and how can he afford to give away 10 leads for free? So I think it's good to be able to have somebody trial the system, and I think that's good, but I think you want a little bit of commitment from them as well, and buy-in, rather than just offering free leads. And it's just people a lot of people just sign up for something free, but they've not got any skin in the game. They've not kind of gone down the path. So I think if it involves them setting themselves up and getting registered, and it's putting their credit card in, whatever, if you've got them set up, that I think that's a good thing. But I think if it's just free with no strings attached, it's probably not great. I always think case studies work well before or alongside anything you're going to do free, because you can talk about a friendly client, or you worked in this niche before, and I think that can be very compelling if you can show the data, because at the end of the day, people want leads. If the free stuff is there, if you can put 3 free leads the next day or 2, and you're confident they'll come through, that's great. But you could also offer free leads, nothing happens for 2 or 3 weeks, and then the client thinks, well, is much going to come through on this? So it's a double-edged sword, I think. But I think case studies are great. I always try and get a friendly client and get a case study. That's a good focus, I would say.
Yeah, especially if you're doing like pay per call, giving them away would be pretty much asinine. So you have to kind of look at it and say, is it going to be enough that that you can afford to just let a few go until you build up a bunch of people in that area. The other thing to think about too is to get a national answering service. So they basically, when the person comes in, they have them fill out a form with the caller online. So they ask the questions that would build up a lead. Then you have a written lead that you can go out and try to find buyers for, instead of taking the lazy approach and just sending leads to people at random. That Lead Simplify is able to let you do that, but you might want to have everything converted over to a physical lead, so then you can do your homework, or have a VA do the homework and get a lead buyer for it. So
yeah, you could burn through a lot of leads, and even if you gave 5 free leads, you could speak to 10 plumbers. That's 50 leads. how many of those plumbers are you going to convert for your you're only going to, I think, probably if you're rank and rent, you might take 2 or 3, maybe. I don't know. You've got to really do the maths and work out how much you're giving away for free before you get anyone converted. So I'd probably work on a smaller number of better prospects, more likely prospects, than just giving a lot of free leads away. I think it could be costly.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, it is the Halloween edition of our Sunday Live. Thank you guys for having us on today, whatever you might be doing. If you're, eating up your kids' candy, or maybe the trick-or-treaters have stopped coming by and you're, eating that.
Maybe you've dressed up. Maybe you want. Do we have the guest function here, Daryl? I know we're on a new platform here.
Yes, we do. Dress up.
Do?
Yeah.
Well, look, if people want to join us dressing up, that's okay. We're open-minded. It's Halloween. You can do what you like.
Yes, definitely. That would be fun. That'd be fun.
Actually, come on with a question. That would be good.
Yeah. All right. So I'll run through my slides. Not as cool as Mr. Simon's here, but let's see if we can maximize.
Oh, you got some clip art though. That's good.
Yeah, I'm trying here. I'm trying.
Yeah,
trying to raise the bar.
Yeah,
All right. So basically, what I'm talking about is the danger zones of mass page, and basically taking the same theme, but these are for basically building mass pages and things to worry about when you're building them. So these are the 10 most dangerous things of building in mass page, according to myself and the years of doing this. Okay. So the very first thing is spin text errors. Okay. Spin text errors. Now, if you go to go.ht / spin text, hang on, let me just double check this one. I could probably put it in the slide here. Hold on. Let me see if I can do that. Whoops, hold on.
So when you talk about error, Daryl, you think like you missed a curly bracket, or the formatting's wrong, so it just won't process through. Yeah.
It's one of the worst things that you can do is to sort of have a perfectly done website, and then you throw in a few errors right on each and every page. It's a good way to show Google that you're doing mass page stuff. And I've seen sites that have that as a problem. So I built, there's a website that I made a short link for. It's go.ht / spin text tester. And you can go there and I'll show you the, I don't know if you can see just this tab. Do you see this now?
Yeah, I've got the URLs there, spin text tester, but I can't see anything. You can't see a URL bar or anything like that.
Okay. Well, if you just go there, it's just a very basic thing where you put in the spin text and then you can see the results. And I think you can go through it a few more times and you can see if there's something broken.
Yeah. So I had this last couple of weeks ago, Daryl, if you remember, that I'd put in my spin text. I was trying to update Magic Page plugin. I was doing the import from Mass Page Tools. So I got the form, put all the data together, and I'd put in a slash instead of a pipe as a separator, and it was one in the whole code. It was one thing, and it just rejected it completely. It wouldn't update anything. And I spent a good few days just going through, just trying to work out what was actually broken, and it was just that one thing in the spin text. So yeah. It would be certainly good to put it through that tester next time, but it's important.
Well, it really matters a lot too when you're doing things with like URL spinning or image spinning and things like that, and all of a sudden you have a dead image because what you have in there. So it can cause a lot of havoc. Let's just say so. Double check, triple check that all of the versions of your spin text when it resolves on the page, that they're working as seamlessly as possible. That's one area of a tool that I'm thinking of building, is something that crawls your site looking for spin text errors in there. So stay tuned for that. I'll see if I can get the developers to build that after we finish ImageFly. Nice. All right. So the other thing is too little text on the page. There's sort of a sweet spot between 1,800 and 2,500 words, I think, with word text, and also to keep it sort of tightly nested to the topic. So the more nested you can keep it in line with the text, that's great. But go deep. The bloggers that have had success on the internet typically, go deeper on a topic. Don't stay in the surface of things. The more you can do your homework and do your research and write your text and keep it in line with the kind of keywords and the semantic, meanings and things like that, the better off your page is going to rank. And it's the most control you have. You cannot control the algorithm, but you can control how semantically related your content is and how well you structure the page. So the more you basically build out the right amount of text, like I said, 1,800 to about 2,500 words is a good starting point. Some people have more, and they do great with that, but it just depends on how exhaustive you want each page to be, because you could also maybe break up that 5,000 word into several pages. Then you've got more potential people to come in, because you're basically spreading out into other silos, if you will. So that's my second dangerous thing, is having three to 500 words on a page is not very, very valuable at all. Okay. The next one is broken links, broken images, that kind of stuff. That certainly anytime you run a site, run it through one of those spidering tools like Screaming Frog, and other tools, that just look for any kind of broken links in there before you sort of say, I'm done with the site. If you, let's say, update something with Magic Page plugin, sometimes you have to clear the cache inside the settings, or hit the permalinks again, and go out of the permalinks and come back into the permalinks to have your pages show up properly on all of your links. So it's very easy. Like, one of the techniques that I suggest people to do is to hard code some of the links. But if those pages don't exist anymore, then you've got hard coded links with broken links. So if you've hard coded links, you want to double check and click on them all and make sure that they don't have, zombie targets. Okay. So that's a big one. Okay. So that's number 3. Number 4, this is probably one of the top ones, is a server or a stack of WordPress or whatever you're using that's slow. If your sites are slow and it's a mass page site, what I really think that this crawl budget concept is quite true, that as they go through and crawl your site, and it just takes up more time and resources, because on a computer, just the time that it takes to crawl through a site, if every single page was 3 or 4, 5, 6 seconds, it's so much harder for a crawler to invest that much time. So it's going to say, okay, that's enough. I got the idea what the site's about, and I'm going to move on. But if the pages are lightning fast, right, and the content is rich, just imagine it just makes it easier for Google to crawl your site and to find more pages to index. So it's always to your benefit to make sure that you've optimized the stack that you use the least amount of plugins, make sure you use server-side caching, and make sure that you use the best hosting that you can afford, because it can make a big difference on how many pages you get indexed. Anything you want to add there, Simon?
No, I'll go with that. I think the server-side caching's a good idea, and obviously fast hosting. I've moved a lot of my services onto VPS recently for that reason, just to try and keep up with things. So yeah, I'd agree.
Awesome. Okay, so plugin and theme conflicts and WordPress. These can sneak up on you. I have a tool called Mailcare or WP Remote that I use to monitor. Some people use Exagio or some of these other tools to kind of look for theme and plugin conflicts, and to find issues with the way the website appears on the front end. With WP Remote, it can take a snapshot of the pages, and then if it sees something different, it's going to say, oh, this snapshot has changed. So you can kind of keep track of it. The other thing I like about WP Remote is it tracks all of the activities that take place on a site, and it logs everything. So when I have, let's say I find on SEMrush a big spike where I'm getting more and more keywords and more traffic, I might want to look at the stack of what was done on the site right around that time to see what happened. I use that. I think it's an invaluable resource to always have a snapshot to see where all of a sudden you start to drop, and I call that a technical issue with your SEO. And if you can fix the technical issue, you rise again. So it's very important that you follow and watch out for any kind of theme issues, things that need to be updated, and things like that.
Yeah, I
Anything,
think
my
the
man?
problem. No, I think the problem is, I mean, if you've got like 2 or 3 websites, you can keep an eye on them, and if they're
Mhm.
client websites, the client's going to probably let you know pretty quickly if they've gone down. But I think if you're doing mass page building, you're doing anything on PBNs, you could have 20, you could have 50, you could have hundreds of websites, and I think you're just not going to be logging into them, looking at them, and you could have a whole section of them down. So I think at some stage you do
Mhm.
need something that can monitor them. You've got to think about how you scale things up. So I think these plugins do work. I do have Zagio, but I'm also looking at main WP. I think it is just playing around that at the moment because you just can't keep an eye on everything. So it makes sense to have a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is tough when you start to have hundreds and hundreds of lead gen sites with WordPress to keep it all straight. But if you do one thing for yourself, do yourself a favor. Try not to have a whole lot of different stacks of plugins and stuff, because with some of these tools, you can make mass updates across all of your sites. And once you figure out what plugin needs to be updated or whatever, it can save you a lot of time. But if you have like various stacks for all of your
Mm.
sites, you have all kinds of different plugins and themes, and sometimes you use Asterisk, sometimes you use Generate Press, and all these kinds of things. It can drive you a little bit crazy when you're trying to troubleshoot what's going
Mm.
on
If
there.
you break and
So,
if you break a large number in one go, there's too many moving
mhm.
parts for you to diagnose. Is it Element or is it Cadence? Is it Oxygen? Is it whatever? You're going to have a long time. I mean, I've got everything now on Cadence, and that's what I focus on, and that's that works for me. But if you've got 3 or 4 platforms, it can be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely, I totally agree. So that's why you can see the blood coming out of the eyes of the ghost on the
Yep.
screen. Obviously, that ghost's been dealing with plugins. All right, massive images, guys. So many times I get a client come through and they have images that are massive. Now, a lot of times you can solve this with a like Imagify or short pixel, things like that, EWWW optimizer, where it'll automatically optimize them real nicely. So you can throw in good quality, high resolution images. But what happens is sometimes people don't have those plugins. So they're not doing that. And so you have this, this thing where the image is like slowly loading from top to bottom on the screen. That is a very bad sign. It's almost good like when you're in a 3G area or you have, a place with low quality internet, look through your site and see what it looks like, because parts of the world will see it that way. And also, again, it comes down to these page loading speeds that the search engine crawlers are looking for, is highly optimized pages that are ready to go. So,
So,
um,
so Daryl, I've got a thing here. Now, I went to SEO Underground recently. I spoke to a top SEO guy, and I'm not going to mention him, but we were talking about image optimization because I was saying I'm a photographer and I do a lot of work with images, and this guy says something really interesting. I'll see what you think because it does contradict a little bit what you've said, and it's a complete revelation to me, and I haven't tested it, so I can't verify it. So I just put it there. But his view was that if you were trying to get an image taken up on search, and it was a famous image, so if I say it was like the Mona Lisa, and you'd taken a picture of it, Google would be much more likely to feature your image in high resolution at the top of image search because it was in quotes, the best answer to the question, the best image, even though it was potentially large and slow. And that he was actually saying this is a tip for, or a strategy for image image search. So it's not necessarily, you could probably weigh
right,
against you on organic, but it's a
right.
really interesting way of thinking about it. Actually going for the highest quality image could be the best answer to Google's
No.
question for an image search. So I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I've done that exact trick with galleries
Hmm.
for an artist site,
Hmm.
or I have this one that is a painter and he sells different prints as well.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I picked the high resolution for that, and also made it so you can zoom in. So the
Hmm.
front end image loads fast, but when you click on it, you can zoom in and see it in fine detail. Well, that image is also available for Google. So I get what they're saying,
Yeah, it
but
was an
when the
interesting one.
page
Yeah.
is loading, try to make it so that the page loads on the front end with something small and allow the image to have a hyperlink to a much bigger, much bigger size if that's what you're trying to do, is optimize for images.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That
especially if
makes
you're
sense.
the
Yeah.
original. If you're the original,
If you're the
like
original, yeah, that's it.
artist,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it makes a whole lot of sense to do that. You know, and then we
Probably
haven't even.
you might want to watermark it, but yeah, I mean that's always the concern, isn't it? If you're the artist, you put the high res, somebody steals it, then they've got it, and then they print it and all the rest of it. There are other ways to mitigate that, obviously, but yeah, from an SEO perspective, it was an interesting one. Yeah, sorry, I thought I'd just mention that.
No problem. And what I haven't put on this list are the things to do to give you an advantage. I'm just telling you the things not to do. So it would be a whole other discussion of the things to do. It could go on for a long
Yeah,
time.
for sure.
But we're just talking about the dangerous things that you want to make sure that you be careful with. Next is using copyrighted content such as images, trademarks, and content that is going to get you a DCMA or some kind of cease and desist kind of thing. So you don't want to do that, especially if it's not something that you can correct very quickly. If you do that across a lot of your sites, it can become a real nightmare to try to fix. And if you don't get the notification and then they take you to court, you could really have a big lawsuit on your hands. So make sure to get licensed things. I use RF 123RF. I use Free Pick, all paid versions and everything. So I make sure that I get licensed images whenever I'm using images. And so you just have to be careful with using any kind of trademark phrases, or make sure that you kind of have permission to talk about trademarks. And if you take content and you haven't properly rephrased it with a tool like ours is Siphon, but you can use other tools, then you run the risk that you're going to come up in any kind of text search, and you can get yourself in trouble. I think the very first thing is the images. They give you away so fast, and you got those pirate photographers that are coming to get you. They want your money.
Well, send you invoices. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, even on all my Sunday Live slides earlier on, all of those images were from a stock image site that I've paid for. So I go for that because I don't want to cut across things, and I guess I create images, and I don't want people to steal my stuff any more than I'm going to steal their stuff. So yeah, I think it's good practice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much easier to get licensed images or images that you're allowed to use than to try to have to fix images that you stole across all of these sites when you get the letter in the mail.
Worse still, or your client does. You've put an image on a client website that you've not got the right license for. They get approached. They get into trouble. You get into trouble. I think that's even Yeah,
that's a really good point. Really good point. Next is toxic backlinking methods. And, I do very little backlinking until my site has some traffic and some keyword wins and things. That's just my strategy. I really feel like, I start with some citations if it's a local service business. And I do the very basics of, directories and things like that. So it just exists as a business for a month or so before I start to say, okay, now we're getting traffic, now we're getting backlinks. And so when I say toxic backlinking, I'm talking about the old Fiverr method where you're throwing 10,000 backlinks at it in about a day and a half. That's going to, have an impact. I think they say that it doesn't, but I've seen it still has an impact. What do you think about that one, Simon?
I mean, I think you can go on Fiverr and buy 1 million backlinks. I mean, I've not done that, but it is possible. I don't know. I think on toxic backlinks, I believe Google mostly just ignores things, and I think the reason for that is if it was that easy to damage a website with toxic backlinks, I wouldn't. One could go on Fiverr and send them to your competitor or somebody else you didn't like, and they would just crash the website. I think Google's pretty good at ignoring websites, but I think the Fiverr backlinks are not going to help. I wouldn't waste your money. I'd invest it in other areas really, but I do think often they're that toxic backlinks just get ignored. But I think there's other things people do that are a little bit more nefarious that do work. But I think your Fiverr backlinks are probably just seen as spam, and people, they just bounces off things. But
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
my thought.
I kind of like it through a tier. Like if I have a tier one that is a Google Stack or some kind of, Web 2.0s or properties that I control, really control the quality of, and then they'll send stuff through there. We were talking about Menterprise publishing and how that can be used as that tier one kind of thing. If you wanted to use it a certain way. So there's a lot of different methods and a lot of different ways you can do backlinking that I don't believe gives your domain any kind of hits, because let's be honest, if you're buying domains, you're looking at the backlinking as part of the value for a specific reason. One is older domains that have really good quality backlinks tend to perform better. So you can say, yeah, you send a lot of bad backlinks, it doesn't impact because John Mueller said so. That doesn't hold up for my experience, because when you do have a really old domain that has really great backlinks, the site that you set up on there, even with not doing hardly anything, seems to perform really well if it's on niche, like really well.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Good backlinks definitely work, and relevant good backlinks, yeah.
Relevant,
sure. Yeah, relevant, yeah.
And classic backlinks, ones that have been there for 10 years or 5 years, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So this is sometimes I put this last because sometimes I feel differently about this depending on the situation. So too many pages too fast has been an issue with Magic Page plugin. I think it might be the way the caching worked or something like that, but other people have used like Page Generator Pro and other tools, and they put a lot of pages at it, and they do tend to do well. That being said, on a totally fresh domain, okay, that doesn't have any kind of domain authority, doesn't have any traffic, I think it would be wise to start off with a smaller footprint and still allow Google to digest that before you add more pages at large, at a huge amount. It's sort of, a mass page, philosophy to do it this way, to let it digest, then add some, then let it digest, then add some, and things like that. It's a more advanced way of doing mass pages, and it's sort of what I recommend for the most part. Now, I do flip that on its side. When the site I'm working with, and I'm, let's say, building a subdomain off of it, and the site already has a ton of traffic and a ton of backlinks and a ton of authority. In that case, I don't worry about it too much. I'll send 20,000 pages to 100,000 pages, and they will digest and they'll do well. But I do like to show a growth. And so it's sort of good to, sort of add a little at a time, It looks better for you with the client too, to make sure that you're adding a little at a time to grow it out, instead of just, dropping 100,000.
And that's exactly. I mean, Magic Page plugin. That's exactly what Mike Martin suggests, isn't it? Is build it slowly and steadily over a number of months. And I think even the business model that they've talked about is a kind of 6-month period of a window. And if you are working with a client, it's good to have them, I guess, part of that journey for 6 months and make that part of the service. I think if you build 1,000 pages in a day, which you can do on Magic Page plugin, you're probably not going to get a good result. And I guess the client's going to be wondering how it all works as well. So I think a timeline and building steady is going to work technically, and it's going to be better for the client as well.
Yeah, our Facebook group is Mass Page Tools. That's MASS space page space tools, and it's a group on Facebook, so you can find it on there, Hassam. Somebody also had said that spin.me is good for seeing multiple spin text outputs, and that's a 1 instead of an I. It looks like I'll take a look at that and make sure that that's not going to give me a virus. But
yeah, that's it. You check it out first, Darryl. Yeah, and obviously there's my Facebook group as well, which is Local SEO Heroes. If you want to join that as well.
Yeah, this is cool. I like this site. So spin.me with a 1 instead of an I. It shows you several different ones, and we're going to build this into our Mass Page tool form. as well. So you'll be able to output to a text file all of these different spin text phrases, so you can use them in other things. So yeah, so Halloween special Sunday live tonight. Absolutely. Great tips, guys. You are very welcome. Um, it is a one co-link. Okay. Yep. And great tips, guys. Okay, awesome. So that's what I had to share. Is there any comments that you have for me on that, Simon?
Or any horror story. Well, none for me really. I just sort of commented as I went along really. But I guess it'd be interesting to see if anybody's got their own horror stories about things they've experienced with clients or on their own websites. But that would be good.
Okay.
Somebody's
So
asking that. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. The
Someone's
next one
asking
here.
about Topic Mojo. I have got Topic Mojo, which is on AppSumo. I think it ends pretty soon, actually. It looks interesting. It does produce a lot of questions and like hundreds of them. I struggled a little bit with the relevance of them all, and I don't know if they're going to refine that and make that a little bit tighter, but it was kind of like I chose a topic and it was 900 questions, and they were a little bit too broad for me to use easily. But it does look interesting. They've just added a SEO checker on, so you can get the rankings next to certain keywords, and there's a bit of sort of value add on the word. So I think it looks pretty interesting. Seems to be developing quickly. So I think I'll keep that rather than refund it. I think that's a grower, as they would say. But yeah.
Yeah, AppSumo, all of the different lifetime deals.
Hello, Jorge. How you doing? Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, are there any things on AppSumo that you're like, everybody should kind of think about this one that you've seen this week or two?
I'm trying to remember what I've done. I am a bit of an AppSumo addict, actually, but I can't remember what
I did.
What did I do? I refunded VBout recently. I just couldn't get on with the. I'll tell you what. My top tip on AppSumo at the moment is, which I really love. It's Phone Sites, which is a landing page builder that works super easy on phones. Funnily enough, you can design it on the phone, you can design it on the desktop as well. But it was just really, if you don't want to throw up a website really quickly, you can put a custom domain on. They've even got a plan for unlimited domains. Actually, it was great as a bridging page, affiliate landing page, something like that. So that's my top tip: Phone Sites. If you had to ask.
Yeah. So Soursop was saying, he was asking if we do a lot of rank and rent, and he said that getting lead buyers through Lead Simplify isn't as simple as you would think it would be. Yeah. So you know what? I have national websites I use Lead Simplify with. And it is great if you already have an established pool, or you have someone that can do the sales for you and sort of, make it all linked together, so the leads, get purchased. But it's one of those chicken or the egg things all the way down. Like as you do it, the leads have to kind of come before you get the lead buyers. And so you have to do everything you can to get the leads to come in. But then you're going to have this very scattered effect where you have leads coming in all these different parts of your country or whatever, and it's very hard to do it. So one of the ways that I recommend is to find some national lead buyers when you're first getting started. So you transition from, let's say you do an affiliate lead generation type of offer, and you use their form and you get credits all over the country until you start to get your site making more and more leads, right? Then you're going to transition to the local lead buyer because you'll make more money if you do that. So I think that it's always good to start so that you have coverage, and so you can get the country covered. I think that's like what I would do, and then transition to the higher price lead buyers down the road.
Yeah, well, one option you've got on that, and I think it is chicken and egg, as you said. And if you start out on a site, it can be a number of months. You don't want to disappoint people. You don't want to say, I've got a site to use, and then they only get 4 leads in a month, and then they get disappointed. So I think what you can do whilst you're warming it up is Daryl's point, try and sell it to somebody national, but you can also use affiliates as well. So there are like local leads gen affiliate sites where you can send traffic to them and get paid $5 or $10. I got not a large bit of my business, but I got $5 for sending a lead to a carpet cleaning a lead generation site yesterday. So that's just one thing. So whilst you're warming up your rank and rent network, send it to an affiliate site and get something
Right.
just to kind of pay for your hosting, get yourself up and
Mm-hmm.
running. If you're getting then 10 leads a day, you can then flip it onto Lead Simplify if you've got some buyers. I think the idea of doing national as well. So there's 2 mass page networks I'm building myself at the moment in niches, and I have a client in mind, 2 national clients, and I'm hoping to rank it and then go to them and say, look, here's a national site that could get you leads for this particular niche, and then position it there. And if they don't want that, I could then put it over to affiliate, for example, instead. But I have to be honest, I don't use. I did buy Lead Simplify. I did think about going down that route, but I don't use it now. And my route would be affiliate or try and sell stuff to, a client, a national client or a group, really. So that's my kind of two approaches that I'm doing at the moment. I'm not using Lead Simplify. Just there's still an overhead in managing those clients, finding the clients, supporting them, dealing with their disputes, keeping them on board. So that's where I've gone with it.
Awesome. Don recommended Nozzle, NOOLZE.
Yeah, I think he
on
means
Epsilon.
Nozzle. Yeah, that's ending any second. I think that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then tab extent was something that George recommended us to take a look at. So we'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
And are you guys excited? Tell us in the chat if you're excited about Black Friday software deals. Are there any things on Black Friday that you're really looking forward to grabbing? Or sometimes it's Black Friday week. So I wondered if you have anything. We plan to have some specials on our software for Black Friday. So maybe you guys will be interested in that. But are there any special softwares out there for SEOs and web developers and lead generation people that you're like, oh, this is going to be a good one? So go ahead and throw that in there if you would like. Also, I think it's time for you to start throwing your names in for the wheel of
Yeah, we're nearly there. It's
names.
1 minute to 11. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and I'll start to share that screen. Let's go ahead and throw this up here. Wheel of names. All right. So we see the.
Want to remind everyone of the domain names again, Daryl?
Yeah. So let's do that.
Build up the excitement here. 3C Pod's already in with his name, so that's all good.
Yeah. So let's see if I can find the page here. And let's see here. Win domains. I'm having a trouble finding this.
We'll come back to it. Look, we've got a few names coming through here. If you can't find it, we'll just add the names.
Well, let me just do this. Now, can you see it?
Yeah, I've got it there. Yeah, awesome.
Okay, so lawyercaraccidents.net for personal injury law. Cheapestwifi.com. It's a .com there. Roofestimates.net. The .com sold for $10,000. And loanpayday.net. The payday loan market is a thing that I'm not going for, but it is a high ticket lead, just so you know. So that's something to think about. And let's see. So we have that there. So we got the wheel of names.
Shall I just call out the names? Yeah, we've got a few entries already, actually, Daryl.
Okay, so let's start with Don. I got Don here.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Hey, yeah, are you back? I'm back.
Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me okay? I should be here.
Hello?
Hello? Let me see. I'll stop showing this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Are you back?
Yeah, okay. So what it was is maybe I couldn't share my page in there. Let me try to share it again and see what happens here. Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, but you probably can't hear me.
Oh, I could hear you. I could hear you. All right. So I'll just go ahead and tell me the wheel of names. Walt says he can hear both of us. So,
okay,
so we have Don. Thanks. We have Walt. Who else do we have? You can read. I can't see the screen.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go to the top and call them out. Okay. So we've got 3C Pod. Yeah.
Okay.
We've got Jeff Weissman. Mazona again.
Yep.
Colin K.
Okay.
We've got Don.
Yep. Don, I got.
We've got Walt McRae.
Okay.
We've got Brian, Sour Sop Warrior. Yeah, Brian.
Okay.
David Tullock, I think that is.
Okay.
Jorge. Got Matthew Reed.
Okay.
Jeff there. David T. Walt. Yeah, people can hear us. They can hear us. That's all good. Somebody's saying hi. So look, that's everyone from the list. There's a couple of people coming through as Facebook users, so we can't see them just yet. So if you haven't heard me call out your name, give us a shout, and we can make sure you're definitely in the draw.
Okay, I'm just looking through too because mine merges the two. Can you see the comments on your end? Or are you just going through the website?
I'm going through the website, but I'll go onto your channel, have a look there.
I don't think you can see the comments. You see a hide chat and show chat?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Well, we're learning. All right. Anybody else? Just put in your name and make sure you're a real person because we're going to check that out before we issue it to you. So, all right. All right, I think we're good. Let me add the wheel of names up on the screen, and we'll have guests come on afterwards, and we'll do that. So, do you see the wheel of names? Yep, spinning.
Yeah, see the wheel of names. Yeah, so everybody in it, you got to put your name in the chat just to make sure we know that you're wanting to enter.
Last call.
Last call. Yeah, put it in.
Yep, I don't have anybody else coming through.
No.
All right, we're going to go for it. Somebody's going to win a domain here, so here it goes. Spinning, spinning, spinning. Looks like it might be Jeff V.
Jeff W.
Jeff W. Okay, got it. Jeff W.
Weissman.
Congratulations, Jeff Weissman.
Well done, Jeff.
Weissman. Yep. If you could tell us which letter you want, let me show you the thing here. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing there. The sharing part I'm not quite used to yet. I have to get used to the sharing. It's a little bit different for me.
Yeah, Jeff's laughing at our pronunciation or spelling of his name. So sorry about that, Jeff. We did our best there, but probably messed it all up.
Yeah. So here are the domains: car accident, lawyercaraccidents.net. That's kind of a partial match domain or exact match domain. Cheapestwifi.com, roofestimates.net, and loanpayday.net. A, B, C, or D. What would work for you? Let me hold that up on the screen. Let me see if you can tell me when he chooses one.
Yeah, I'm watching. He's on the stream, but no selection just yet.
Okay.
C. So roof estimates is what.
Roof
Jeff's
estimates.
chosen.
That's a good one. Good
Good
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Nice.
Good job. Reach out to me at Daryl.chat, the website Daryl.chat, and we'll get you access here. So congrats, Jeff. This is his first win. So
nice.
Good job. Definitely good job there.
Well, welcome.
All right. Yeah. So I think, would you like to take on some guests? We could talk about horror stories.
I mean, if people want to come and share their horror stories, that's fine. As long as none of my clients want to come on and talk about horror stories involving me, that's fine. Everybody else is very welcome. Maybe some horror stories from your clients, Daryl. That might be good.
Maybe. So just go.ht/guest. If you'd like to join us on our new system here, hopefully we can get you on here.
Yeah, come on, just ask a question. That would be great. I know Brian there, South Warrior's got a question, but you're welcome to come on and say hello if you'd like. We can answer that.
So it's go.ht/guest. That should work. Let me just make sure it's working on this other browser here. Awesome. All right, we're waiting for you to come up. If you want to be a guest, go.ht/guest. If you can wear a Halloween costume, that makes it even better.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were
But
wearing one, Daryl, already. I thought you'd already come.
yeah, I should have wore a wig. I think that would have
Yeah,
been
that would have
cool.
been absolutely horrifying. Yeah,
People really wonder what happened.
yeah.
So, um, but yeah, and I also thought about doing the show like the mini me. I'll be the little guy, and you be the
You'd
big
be
guy in
like,
the show.
yeah, like that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, great. There's all sorts, all possible. New platforms opened up all sorts of possibilities.
Yes.
But we'll maybe work it better next week. I think we're getting used to it. I mean, to be fair, we only looked at this earlier today, didn't we? So we're still kind of finding our
Yeah.
feet with it, to be honest. But
That's
that's
pretty
great.
cool.
Doesn't look like Brian's going to come on, but should we just have a look at Brian's question, Southside Warriors question there?
Yeah.
Thanks for the answers.
Yeah.
Do you guys know a good way to spin image URLs? So we don't have the same image names on a bunch of legions for a footprint.
Yeah. So I imagine
You mentioned that earlier on, Daryl. You got a thought on the best way to spin those?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What I typically do is we use Menterprise for things like this, Menterprise content, because you can just throw in a list of URLs and then just go ahead and have it put it into spin text. But if you use our mass page tools form, there's a way to do this as well. And you can do it in the link box. Okay. So that will create links in spin text. So if you want like different links to different sites, you can put all the links inside of the target SEO box, and it'll put all those in spin text. Now, when you're dealing with images, you have to have image SRC code, okay, which is sometimes not going to work with Elementor, okay, because you have to put it in as an HTML box. You can't really just do it with images. So let me see if we have a minute. What I can do is try to show you. Okay, sorry. He's gonna another this week. Okay, so he's gonna get back to me later. Okay. So yeah, I'll show it some other time on here. Maybe we can do that next week. Sour soup sop.
Why don't we bring it back next week, Daryl? We can have it as a topic.
Yeah, because I want to be able to show it properly and how to spin images in WordPress and Elementor the proper way. Because there's a few different ways you can do it with Magic Page plugin, or you could just do it very raw as well. And so definitely, and also that's an area where we could build a tool in Magic Page or Mass Page Tools. I think that would help people. So I think it's a good suggestion. I'm going to write that down, and we'll see if we can add that as a thing where you can just throw a bunch of image URLs and it'll create spin text.
Yeah, I think it's a good topic for another week. Yeah.
Yeah, alt tags and everything like that. So yeah, thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. Those ideas help us to make the app a little bit better each time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we'll do it next week. Yeah. So I can properly prepare. So I can double check that everything is going to work. Nothing worse than just jumping into a live site on something like this and then having something go haywire, and it just takes more time than it should. So, all right, I think we're done today. Thank you guys for checking things out. I'm going to turn off the guest line here, and we're going to probably call it a day. But Simon, you did a great job. Appreciate the theme. You got the theme going. I loved your pictures.
Well, I think it's nice to have a theme, actually. This opened up. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was really nice. So this is probably for the next 7 years. It won't happen on a Sunday live on a Halloween. So we might as well have fun with it and get the little ghosts in the corners and all that. So, hey, be sure to tell your friends about our channel. I think we're up to 926 subscribers, so we're getting close to the big 1,000. And we will be talking more about different things next week. So if you're into buying and selling domains, we'll have an update for you on domain kicks for next week. Just testing some things on the improvements that we've done. So we'll definitely do that. Jeff, go to Daryl.chat in the browser. Daryl.chat in the browser, and we'll start a conversation in there. And I'll get all the details from you to get everything going. All right. My good friend Steven says 3 Seasons Pod says awesome. Thank you, brother. We appreciate that. And thank you guys. Appreciate it for a great night. Awesome. We appreciate you as well. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
We will see you back here at, let's do, not sure when the time flips back, but we'll probably do either 6 or 5 next week as well. And we'll move it that way. All right. Based on that, eventually we'll get back to 5 p.m. Eastern time. But when we have the gap, we'll stick to this. So, because Simon has some stuff he's doing up into that point, and I don't want to mess him up. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. Great holiday show. Thank you, and appreciate you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you
Have a
later
great
on.
night. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.